Hi, this is the video that accompanies the slide deck for the unit for Wuthering Heights. The unit is divided into three sections: pre-reading, reading, and assessment. In the pre-reading, you will find a movie trailer link to see the trailer for the movie. This is just the table of contents, which tells you that the three sections include what I just spoke about. Part 1 has background information, literary terms, and a character list. The background information has a link for a video to give additional information and a website to give additional information. It has information on Emily Bronte. It has a character list. You can have these go into more detail. You can change it to have less information, more information. You can just go to File, make a copy of this presentation, and edit it however you need to make it work for your students. Here are the literary terms. For some of the literary terms, there is a link to a video that explains the literary term a little bit more in depth. If that's the case, it will say click for video. Otherwise, there's just a short definition, and again, you can edit this however you see fit. There's a Padlet. You'll have to create the Padlet in your account, but this does give you what the question or the suggested question would be and what that would look like for your students. If you've never used Padlet before, you'll just go to the website. You create the Padlet by editing the question, and then when your students use it, they're just going to hit this plus sign right here, and it'll pop up a box, and they will write their response. Here's a quotation from the novel, which leads you to the second section. The second section is the actual 34 chapters of the book. Chapters 1 through 2 have the link for the text. The text is a side-by-side version, which has English and Spanish. If you have given your students copies of the novel, then they'll have that. But if not, here is access to that. For the first two chapters, I did include a copy of the Say Mean Matter. You will have to make a copy of this and put that in your Google Classroom or however you are going to distribute those to your students. But that is a copy of it. You'll just have to, again, file, make a copy. Video support. Just a little bit of information about the video support so that you can edit this as you see fit prior to releasing it to your students. For each chapter, I did include a summary from one of the websites. They are very detailed videos, so if you don't want your students to have access to that prior to your assessing the reading of the chapter, you can go ahead and just delete the video support link that is in each chapter. That will delete their access to it. But for chapters 1 and 2, you would just delete this whole bit. But after that, you'll see that it just says video support. And then here's the Say Mean Matter support. I like to give my students some sentence starters when they do the Say Mean Matter for the first time. And down here, you can go ahead and give them specifics as to how many quotations you want and the length of the responses you would like. Here is kind of what it will look like for each additional chapter. So again, here's that video support. You can delete it if you'd like so that students don't have access to that. And here are the reading questions. The reading questions are for a collection of chapters, and when that changes, it'll be indicated in the slide. I do also have, where I think about it, the narrator shift, because that gets a little confusing for students, just to kind of tell them and remind myself that I need to talk about that with my students. For chapters 6 through 9, again, here's that video support, and they have those same reading questions. And then there's a written reflection for chapter 9 and a common lit. The chapter questions begin again at chapter 10, and I didn't link the questions. I just put in a reminder that they have those questions. Here's another quotation. Again, here are your reading questions and your video support, your narrator shift, and then I did include another copy of the Say Mean Matter in case you wanted to assign that at this point. Here again, video support, reading questions. Here's a new selection of reading questions. For chapters 20 to 23, in 23 there's a bit of that dramatic irony, so I did include a link to dramatic irony review for you and for your students. And then at the end of the novel, chapter 34. You can move these to your assessment pieces if you want. These two pieces are the same for the previous chapters, but these two are kind of end of novel thoughts. So the personal response and the writing about the novel, they can go with chapter 34, or if you would like to move them to the assessment pieces, that would work as well. I included this slide which just tells your students to check with your teacher to ensure that all their during reading assignments have been completed before you move on to your assessment pieces. So if you wanted to change this to include like reading questions, common lit, writing assessments, whichever pieces you've assigned to your students, you can do that. Here you'll see that you have your visualizing and analyzing vocabulary through text-dependent analysis. These are each of those that are provided in the curriculum documents. And if you have any questions about this slide deck, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.